And we're back. Welcome, everybody.
To the cavalry.
That's right. The cavalry.
Now, people knew, even if we were going to change the name, you can't just snap your fingers, folks.
No, it's going to take months.
I remember President Obama once describing the country, and it's like driving people want change right away, but it's like driving a giant tanker ship, and you got to just tweak 1 degree. You can't make sharp turns. You just got to kind of, and that's like podcasting is the same way, when you have two lazy people.
Yeah. It's like my career.
Yeah.
I don't want to send a bunch of emails today. I'll send like 1 email every 3 days to a booker.
God, I know. We could get more into that, but oh my God, am I struggling lately? It's 100 degrees the last 3 days here. It's been got up to 103, I think, yesterday.
Uh-oh.
Still no central air. Still no central air in the Sleighter household.
What do you mean? Still, is it out, or do you never had it?
No, we just never. I always think like, oh, this will be the year. I'm always like, we'll just get through this heat wave, and then in the fall it'll probably be cheaper or whatever. We'll get a HVAC guy out here to give us a bid.
Oh, to put it in, to put central air in.
Yeah. And I never do it. I also
How
always
does that
think,
work? What do they do? Because I mean, when you don't have central air, you just have walls, but no.
Well, we have like heating ducts.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. Don't they just use those and push?
I don't.
Or do they just put in new?
Talking to one of the dumbest people on the planet, so
I know it's possible. It's got to be possible.
Heating ducts, okay.
Well, like the air that the heat, the air that the heat goes through. Why can't they just tap into that and instead
you have central heat?
Yeah, I have central heat. I don't have a series of space heaters in my house.
What about people that have like those old metal radiators in all the rooms?
I don't know.
That's not. You can't turn that into central air.
No, you can't, and you can't make those like cold. They can't like make them like radiate cold, can you?
I don't know. I really don't think so.
No, that doesn't work because like when you're desperate, like we have basically one big air conditioner that's on wheels, and we roll it around the house. So it's like,
we had that in LA.
Yeah, it's in the living room, and then like everyone's in the living room, and then it's like time to eat, and then we just roll it over to the dining room. It basically can only stretch to the living room and the dining room.
Yeah, does it have like a shitty accordion hose that has to go out? Yeah.
So you got to pick a window, and I'm not moving that goddamn thing around every time because we don't have the right plastic piece that like didn't come with it. So I had to like jerry rig like a styrofoam duct tape situation, and so I'm not moving it. Once it gets set, it's set. But I don't think you can radiate cold because I try that with like the freezer, like when I'm in the kitchen and I'm so hot, like cooking, and we don't have any air conditioning in there. I'll just open the fridge and the freezer thinking like, oh, that'll cool the room down. And it doesn't work.
Doesn't work
at all. Or like I'll sleep with an ice pack just next to me, like in the bedroom's so hot. And I just put the ice pack like by my head thinking, well, it'll like cool off this vicinity by my head. And that doesn't work either. So,
well.
But it's.
Have you gotten bids? How much would it cost?
No, I've not gotten bids. I've not changed the name of this podcast, and I have not gotten an HVAC guy out to my house. But like, then you're like, it's such like the way I grew up. It's very Pacific Northwestern thinking, but you're like, it's like hot. Like, you only use it like 4 days a year. But then if you really had it, you just set that thing like I'm sure you just set it to like, what's your temperature at during the summer?
I think 77. Is that
77? 77 degrees, and you never think about it, and your house is always comfortable and nice, No. I'm very jealous.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud. I don't know if we talked about it, but I installed the Nest myself, which is
I think we did talk about that.
Yeah.
And I'm impressed. Didn't you have to like wire it in? Like you had to use wires?
Yeah, I mean, I took off the old one, and then they say if your wires are brown, yellow, and green, then do this. If they're red, if you have 4 wires, do this.
Did it rhyme? That helps me if it rhymes.
Yeah, I was like,
It's
if you're
brown, yellow, or
if it's
green.
brown, flush it down. If it's
Right.
yellow,
Keep
yeah,
it mellow.
keep it mellow, baby. Just let it mellow.
Just let it mellow.
Yeah.
But we're surviving. And then I have a pre-show discussion. Well, just a story. Not even that
Ooh,
great
it's
of a
story
story.
time with Andrew. New segment. Story time with Andrew.
Hey, turn your mic up just a little bit because I think it's a little low.
All right.
So I did this show, one of these here in Portland. They have them all over the country now. These don't tell shows. Do you ever do those?
Yes, I just did one maybe a month and a half ago. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all over the country. They say don't tell, but then you got to tell everybody anyway.
Yeah.
But the whole gimmick is they do them at like places that wouldn't normally have comedy or any type of show. So this one was at the East Side Kettlebell Collective. It's like a gym,
Okay.
and we're doing the show, and they have these, those like CrossFit gyms where they have those like huge window, like the whole wall is windows, and then I
Yeah,
think they can
sure.
roll them up and down or whatever.
Yeah.
So we're doing the show. I do my set, Crush, of course, and
Of course.
then a couple other
But
comics
no
go up.
less.
Then all of a sudden, everyone starts looking out those windows, and so the stage is at the front. There's a wall behind the stage, and then like if you're on stage, to your right is the wall of windows, and the whole
Okay.
audience starts looking to their left, like out the window, and it's the naked bike ride. The naked bike ride going through Portland.
Oh,
So
wow.
so you're like, oh, that's hilarious. And the comic on stage, this guy named Shane Brendan's funny guy. He's riffing on it. And it was funny and everything. But then it just, you know, kept going. It was so long. Like it lasted the
Oh my
entire
gosh.
rest of the show.
Wow. Like you can
So,
only riff on it for so long and then
exactly.
it
And
doesn't
then
go
the next
away.
comic gets up there and they make their couple of jokes or whatever. But then people are still like super distracted because it's
Yeah.
naked people right outside the window. And
You
they're
can't
like,
beat that.
they're like fleeting by at about like 15 miles an hour. So you're like, you want, it's a new naked person like every 2 seconds. So you're just like constantly, your instinct
Oh,
is just to look.
sure. You get to look at some good wieners?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah?
no, I didn't get a look at any good wieners or hardly any naked at all, except for one person whose bike. And this is what's so funny to me. If you're going to do the naked bike ride, my
Yes.
advice is to make sure your bike is in good condition
Why?
because you do not want to be the person whose bike breaks down on the naked bike ride and then has to bend over and start trying to put the chain back on the bike. Somebody broke down. And I was like, oh, that's not a good look at all.
Oh
It's
no.
more like it, you could imagine someone being more attractive if they just fly by, but then once
Yeah.
they're stopped
Right.
repairing a
You're
bicycle,
seeing it all. Yeah.
cursing and getting grease all over their, pubic hair. Not a good look. So that
Yeah.
was this weekend. The
Oh,
Don't
that's
Tell
fun. Oh
comedy
man.
shows.
Would you ever do that?
The naked bike ride?
Yeah.
No.
And why not?
I would not want to be naked on a bicycle with a bunch of strangers, I guess. Why
I
would you?
make you defend your decision. And why not?
And
You just
why not? Wait, would you do it?
uh I don't know. I mean, I probably wouldn't. I would like to. I think it'd be a fun experience, but like, I don't know. I mean, do you like? Let's say you were doing it, and it's the morning of, and you're like, oh fuck, what if, what if I get a bone? Like, what if I have a boner the whole time? You know?
I don't think is it possible to be like, yeah, I guess it is. I was gonna say, like,
Get a
if you're,
boner on a bike? I'm sure it
yeah,
is.
get a boner on a bike seems hard because you're like, one, you're like exerting yourself a lot, but then that probably still doesn't stop your blood from going from your
But you're exerting yourself when you're
having
having sexual
sex.
intercourse.
Well, if you're not not the way I do it, but I do a
You're
lot
just
of
always on
I do a
bottom.
lot of prep work to make sure I don't have to get my heart rate up too high. Okay, we're gonna lean this pillow over here.
Out.
Uh, I did think about it. Like, what if I did do it? There's like, what would your strategy be? Because
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this thing was so long. Like,
Yeah,
it
that's
last. It
interesting.
wasn't even over by the time I was like gonna wait it out. I was just sitting at the show at the end of the show, like I don't want to get caught in naked bike ride traffic, because it was
Yeah.
just taking up the whole street. And so eventually it petered out or whatever. But like I was like, you don't want to be like you don't want to be too late because then you're
Yeah.
just like one guy naked on a bicycle, like trying to catch up
Right.
to the group. That's not a good look. And then I think you just want to be right in the middle, if there's a way to figure that
Yeah.
out. Because then you just blend in. You can like, you know, you can go up a little bit, see other naked people, try and find some
Yep.
hot people. You
Slow
can
it
slow
down.
down, you know what I mean? Get a good
Some more.
gander at everybody.
You
But then
definitely want to make sure your seat's on tight before you start the race. You don't want that
yes.
falling off halfway through.
No, no. Then that's gonna be real burning thighs by the end because you do not want to sit down.
Right.
Uh and then like I was thinking you don't want to be like too early, like at the very beginning. I wouldn't want to be like first. Then you're just standing there naked waiting for it to start.
Yeah, he's like, follow my asshole,
Yeah.
everyone. That's so crazy that like do you think they just like I mean, did they just not schedule it accurately? I mean, like,
The
oh,
show?
we didn't real yeah, that's what a
Yeah.
terrible
I mean,
oh
can you think of like all the things that they don't account for when booking comedy shows, but they're like, "Hey, we better check the parade schedules to make sure there's no distracting naked bike
yeah.
rides that go by."
So all right, so the stage is let's say what's a club we've both done. So I'm trying to think like is the comedian looking out the window or is the audience the
Yeah,
window
so it'd be
behind
like
the
it would be like to the comedian's right, the whole
okay.
if it was a comedy club, it'd be
Oh,
that
okay.
whole
So like the
wall
right
is
side
windows.
wall.
Yeah, it'd be all
Oh,
windows.
okay.
So the audience is looking to their left, and the
Yeah.
audience is pretty much just straight down the middle. There were no like
Oh
angled
wow.
chairs, so no one
Yeah.
even had to look behind them or anything. You had nobody who was dedicated attention. They were all just, and it
Wow.
was so funny because it was like of course, you do it like three times. You're like, okay, I get it. There's naked people. I've seen naked people before.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna be a good audience member and focus. But you just can't. And I mean, I'm
Yeah.
like I'm sitting there like going, I love comedy. I know these people. They're my friends.
Yeah.
But I'm still like, whoa, hey, there's another one.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it could be you on stage. I'd be like, "Oh, that's my buddy. I'm going to support him." But then,
Yeah.
2 seconds later, I'd be like, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah," just jerking off at the window.
Wow, that seems a little. But
Disrespectful.
one comic,
You'd
one,
be disrespected if I did that.
yeah,
Are you kidding me? No.
I think it's a little disrespectful. For you think about the East Side Kettlebell Collective was nice enough to host this event, and then you jerk off all over their kettlebells.
Well,
The one comic, Samantha, she's like filming. So she's like everyone starts filming because they're like, oh, this will be like a funny viral. So the comic on stage and then trying to film outside. But
yeah.
she just like walks outside and just starts filming the whole thing. I'm like, that's probably got to be frowned upon.
Oh yeah.
I would have been kind of
Yeah,
pissed
that's
if
yeah,
like
I changed my answer. I wouldn't want to do it because you're just like, "Oh, everyone's going to have me naked online."
somebody's gonna get that footage.
Yeah.
Would you do a naked marathon? Because you do marathons.
Oh god, no. I'm fucking ugly with my clothes on in a marathon. My fucking droopy dick just dragging behind me. No way.
With
No way.
dragging behind you. Wow. It's very impressive, actually.
Yeah, no. A naked marathon. Oh
Think how much
Jesus
time
Christ.
think how much better your time would be if you taped your dick up and didn't have it dragging behind you,
That's a
holding you
good
back.
point. Yeah.
Uh, do you think? But would it be? It would be because people talk about chafing in marathon. Do you ever chafe?
Yeah.
Maybe there'd be less chafing
Yeah, that's true. Like
if you did it without a
the
shirt
nipples
on.
and thighs. I don't really get thigh chafing really that it's just It's like armpits and nipples that I get chafing.
Yeah, I don't know if a shirt helps with that or hurts with that. I can't.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, just run it naked next time,
Yeah,
whether it's a naked marathon or not.
I'll start. I'll ease into it with a naked half marathon.
Yeah, and just half of you is.
I still think my marathon days are over.
Do you have any coming up? Any big runs coming
Nope,
up?
no runs coming up.
What made you quit? Just common sense.
What made you quit? You just pull your head out of your ass, or what was it? No, I don't know. I haven't. I mean, maybe I would do the Lake Monona one again, where you it's like a half, basically a half marathon. Maybe I do the half. I don't know. I just
Were you discouraged because the last time you did one, you ran the wrong direction and added too much
oh, that
time
was
to
infuriating.
your?
Oh, that was yeah, that was infuriating. No, I don't know. I like lately I haven't been running as regular. I'll run, like 3 times a week or 2 or 3 times a week, but like I'm walking a lot more during the runs. I'm just
Yeah.
I crossed it off the bucket list, It's what are we
It
doing
does
here?
seem like one of those things. It's not even meant to be like, I just do this for the rest of my life. It seems like something you do,
Yeah, you've
you
achieved it.
know,
Boom.
and then you move on to like, okay, now I'm gonna go bungee jumping or something.
Yeah. A marathon's it's too long. I like that's not enjoyable anymore. I would do another half marathon because those are like they're very hard. It's a significant accomplishment, but it's not stupid and something that doctors tell you not to do because you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
all right. Less
Yeah.
inspiring, but good.
Yeah. Oh,
Happy to hear it.
I have a pre-discussion. I right before while I was waiting for the Zoom meeting, I was reviewing. I just got the footage from Comedy on State of my headline set. I was like, oh, this is
Oh.
gonna be great because
Oh no.
they sent me all the different camera angles so I can like edit it. It looks great. And I did 55 minutes and wearing I'm wearing jeans, sweatshirt, collared shirt under it, but like the collared shirt underneath, like it looks like I'm wearing like a Michael Jackson onesie, like wraps over your dick because like the flaps of the collared shirt are hanging down in front of my zipper. And so it just looks weird. And that like ruins I mean, I'll still post them. It's just like it's very
Yeah.
distracting to be like, is he had a unitard under his
Wait, I'm having a hard time picturing what you're talking. So the tails of the shirt is untucked, and then it sort of
but in the front.
frames your
I'm gonna
crotch.
take a screen grab and then show it to you here.
Yeah, I want to see this. Oh, and we have. Oh, yeah, that reminds me of something else. We have a backup to get to. In fact, I gotta pull
We
that
have
up.
what?
On the Patreon, a listener
Yes.
sent in
Ooh.
name suggestion. These name suggestions are coming so late, but then also they need backup on something. So let me pull that up real quick.
Okay, I'm just gonna
While
take a
you
picture.
while you send okay, well, let's both be quiet at the same time.
Okay, this is fuzzy. Can you see my screen?
Wait, let me see.
Are you looking at it?
Yeah, I'm looking. Oh, I see.
You
I
see what I
see.
mean?
No, that's not even what I was picturing, but that's worse. Yeah, because
It's
it
like
looks
I'm wearing
like
whitey tighties over my jean. That's what it looks like.
yeah, you like girls or women wear those bodysuits now. Like you said, a
Yeah.
onesie, but then it
Yeah.
looks like you just didn't button it to like complete the
Right.
look. So it's just kind of you look like one of those old West guys in his long johns. He gets like in the
Yeah.
outhouse and he gets
Yeah.
woken up in the middle of the night and has to grab his pistol and run out there.
His shotgun.
Yeah.
Go
And
out
then
on
you're
the
like
porch.
Johnny, we need you to do comedy. And you have like ran from the homestead.
But there's no way I could have. I mean, I looked down and I was like, oh,
You
okay,
look
your
good. I
shirt
mean,
tail's fine. But it's like, I can't tell it's together and it's over my wiener. It doesn't
yeah.
look like, oh, it's just kind of that untucked shirt look. It's nope.
You
They
look
just,
great. You look great. I just maybe you don't need the sweatshirt or you don't need the collared shirt. You could just do one or the other.
yeah. Ah, well.
Ah, you'll get them next time,
I'll
pal.
just wait till the next time I'm headlined at the best club in the
What-
country. God damn it.
uh, Okay, do you want to get to the backup from this?
Yeah, yeah, for
This is
sure,
from
definitely.
Ryan. This is from Ryan
Ryan, does he have a last name or no?
Weiser.
Ah, Ryan
Yeah.
Weiser.
Okay, so he thinks we should keep the name, if that matters. I don't know if we're okay. He needs backup. My
Okay.
wife wants to put up a privacy fence, replace our chain link fence due to the close proximity and lack of privacy in our backyard. We have a small backyard, and I'm willing to compromise here, but I don't want to offend great neighbors. I've been fighting the good fight and delaying the inevitable. I need backup on the fact that a discussion with our neighbors should happen before we eventually put up a new fence. I don't think it is right for them to share the cost, but I do believe they should know about it ahead of time. Another thought on fences. It seems odd to me how some fences have the structural side facing outward. Is it wrong to assume that the exterior side of a fence is the finished side? Thank you to for continuing to produce great content year after year. Special shout out to Ben and Noreen in Seattle with the newest beaner arriving this October. Cheers,
Oh, I met
gentlemen.
Ryan. I met Ryan
Ryan in
in
Minnesota.
Minnesota. Yeah, I got a
Yeah.
picture with him. Okay, yeah,
Okay. He hits on some great uh
definitely,
these are right down the middle cavalry topics, I gotta say.
yes. These are
So
better. That's better than our pee hole topic from last week.
first of all, yeah, of course the finished side of the fence goes on the exterior.
Like outside.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, I agree
Did
totally.
you not know what exterior
No,
meant?
yes, I just want to clarify for our dumb
Whoa,
listeners.
whoa, hey, Harvard. Inside or outside? Don't throw these eerier words at me. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen a fence reversed.
Well, when oh yeah, that would be weird if it's one guy has fencing. He's just like, I want to look at the nice
I want
part.
to see the nice part. I mean, I kind of get it, but it seems so selfish and it would be weird. The only thing I could think of is you could finish both sides of the fence. You could just throw up boards on the other side too. It would be
Yeah,
easy. But
yeah.
yeah, no. But you are correct in assuming that the finished side of the fence. But what he might be talking about is like what I assume is that his neighbors share a property. They probably share the property line where the current fence is, or the fence.
Yeah.
There's no like, you know what I mean. So it is a
Right.
thing where
Well, someone
someone's going to be looking
someone
at.
owns that fence that's currently there.
It must be them though, if they're the ones talking about
Yeah.
taking it out. But like what I'm
Yes.
saying is, there's no like, it's not like a fence to your driveway or something. It's going right to their
Yes.
yard. So
Right.
whatever
Right.
you're showing them. So I mean, you could say like, I want to, like you said. Now I'm trying to think of my neighbors. My neighbor built a fence on the other side where I didn't build it. It was a fenced. We put a fence in when we moved in, but there was only one side of our yard that wasn't fenced in. So I fenced that in. But the neighbor on the other side, he had built this fence years and years ago. Now I can't visualize it, but I think I might be looking at the structural side.
What's
It's
the
never
structural side? The ugly
well the
side?
framed part, like the where the
Yeah.
boards got nailed into.
Cross beams.
Yeah, I don't know. I got to think about that.
See, it's well, like if it's just you putting in your own fence of your yard and not everyone has one, well, then it's obvious. Yes, you should be looking at the interior part. But if
Right.
everyone has one and it's just like, well, I'm putting in a wall, I'm
Yeah.
swapping one of
Because
the sides.
cuz the idea of the fence is that the front of it is outward. It's facing
Yes.
out.
Yeah.
If you flip that around, you're messing with the whole concept of the fence.
Right.
It's like you're
Yeah.
building a castle and you don't want to show the interior of the walls to the enemy. You want the big fence part on the outside.
Yeah. Don't embarrass yourself in front of your
Now,
enemies.
this other question about what do you think about the neighbor thing?
Well, see, now that it's up to you. Sure, it's polite. Yeah, if you want to have manners and be like, hey, we got to talk to them. But if it's your fence, who gives a shit? I doubt that your neighbors are going to be like, hey, you took down that shitty chain link fence and
No,
put up a nice fence.
and chain link fencers are so ugly.
they're just not. Yeah, they're just functional. They're not.
Yeah.
They'll be
I
thrilled.
I think they'll
They'll
be
be
thrilled.
thrilled.
I think they'll be thrilled, but there is now like it depends how high. Now, like if the current fence is like chain link fences are usually only like 4 feet high or five, they're
Yeah,
usually small.
yeah.
So if you come now, you come in with like a big 8 foot fence.
8 foot.
Well, I'm just saying, well, you
Aren't
come
they
in with
like
something.
6 foot?
Yeah, but I mean, it's a little bit of a like, I remember when we see again, when we put in our fence, we don't share, it was to the driveway, right? So it wasn't like they're coming by. We're not like touching each other backyard to backyard. So I didn't think
Okay,
anything of it. But it
okay.
is a little off-putting if someone builds like a big, because right now on my one side, my neighbor has like a tiny, that fence is like 4 feet, and I
Yeah,
planted this. I thought it was like a bush,
yeah.
but it's grown. It's a tree. It's a myrtle tree, so it's gonna get really big. And I'm like, this is kind of like, I don't want him to think like I planted this to like, hey, quit looking over into my yard. But that's what it's
Oh,
starting to appear to be.
we are doing that. Like that's
Yeah.
why we've bought 20 trees.
So I think I agree with Ryan. If you really like your neighbors, I would talk to them about it first.
Yeah, not in like a permission way, but just be like,
No, no,
hey,
no,
just
no,
a
no,
heads
no.
up.
Yeah, you don't want to start that precedent where you're like,
Yeah.
then they're like, hey, you didn't tell us you were getting a new fridge.
What the
You
fuck,
want to run
man?
that? You want to run that by us first next time? Be a good
What's
neighbor.
funny is that we have, I mean, you saw our yard, our backyard, because we're in the cul-de-sac. It's just kind of this, it's a huge
Huge.
backyard and it's fenced in. Like we're looking at the interior of the whole way around. And it's it's pretty it's old and like we got a quote to get it like stained and it was like, $3,000 or some ridiculous amount. And
Yeah.
I'm not about to be like, well, I'll do it myself because I'm not fucking do it. I hate that shit. So now we
Right.
just have to like hope, we got to kind of talk to each. We touch yards with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people, and so I just kind of have to convince each of those six that they should get a fence for their yard, and we'll take ours down, so that they pay for them.
Wait, so your plan is to just take your own fence out
Yeah,
and
and then
let
have
them,
everyone get their own
and then
fence.
your fence will be their fence.
Right.
Their fences will just
Yes.
become your fence.
Yes. That's the goal.
That's okay.
So wish me luck.
I don't think they're gonna respond well to that.
Well, that's
So
that's
they're
that's
playing.
selfish.
Well,
We'll
fences are
see.
tricky.
That's not fair because they'd be splitting the cost among all six of them. Why should that burden fall on the beaners? You know what I mean?
Because you're the king of the roost with the giant parcel of land. They probably all look at you like, fucking beaners and their football field. Let them buy the fence.
uh, we did that. I don't know if we talked about it last year, but we did that big giant slide where in the backyard, and we had like our six neighbor friends came over with their kids. It's like a fucking 25-foot high inflatable bounce house company that puts in a big slide with the water hooked up to it. So we did that on Sunday and just had all the neighbor kids over and all
Oh,
the neighbors.
wow.
It was pretty fun. And so of course we do in our yard because we have this huge yard. So that was fun.
You're trying to establish some goodwill. Did
Yeah.
you drop any hints there? Like, yeah, see my fence?
Well,
Oof,
no, this is
not gonna
not. None of
last.
those people touch. None of those people touch. So those are not the fence people. And those
Oh, you
everyone chipped in equally for the cost of this bounce house slide thing.
so you're not building any goodwill.
No.
You gotta have those fence touchers over. You need the
What
fence
are
toucher,
those?
the people who you touch your fence.
Oh yeah,
You
yeah.
gotta have
Invite them
them
over.
over, wine
Yeah,
and dine them, and then go just keep bitching about your fence the whole time. Like, yeah, I
yeah,
don't know. She's
yeah.
not
The
gonna
wood's getting
last.
old. I don't know.
Just start kicking it in front of them. See that?
I've already broken so many boards with my riding mower, just fucking accidentally hitting the wrong pedal and just plowing into it. And I got to go on their side and fucking wood glue and hammer it, and it just looks shitty.
Yeah. So Ryan, to back you up, I agree. Talk to your neighbors first, especially if you like them,
Yeah.
and don't.
Pose it like it's good news. Be like, hey guys, exciting news.
You're never gonna see me
Do
again.
this. You'll never see me again. Yeah.
uh, I like this relationship though, where clearly Ryan likes the neighbors more than his wife.
When he wants
He
to
seemed.
see them. I mean, I love our neighbors. I don't need to see their yard.
I kind of like looking in people's yards.
But you bring up a good point though, because the 4 foot versus the 6 foot, that's
We
a
put in a six
very
foot.
different feel and a very different statement.
So I think it's safe to say this because I doubt they listen. But our neighbors on the side where we built the fence, big, very nosy neighbors.
Yeah.
Very, which is great to have when you go
You
on
go out of
vacation. Like
town.
I'm on the road a
Yep.
lot, so I appreciate a lot of it. But always just and then and
Yeah.
then before we had no fence. I mean, imagine like zero fence. So it was like they're all just there was no. But now ever since I did build it pretty high, and you just see
And
her. And
you
she's just
did it?
yeah, me and my dad. It's not that hard to build a fence. You just gotta like line it
Uh
up.
I've tried.
What do you mean you tried?
When I was
Gave up?
in I mean, I was much younger. I must have been in high school. Maybe I was in college. It was a summer. But a neighbor, a friend of my mom's, a neighbor in Omaha, wanted us to put in a fence. And if you look at it from like bird's eye view, it's like it looks like a Z. I mean, it's like a Z. Like, and
Yeah, well, but
I measured everything every time. It just does not work.
I
I
don't
don't know.
understand where you went wrong. But who cares? It zigzags a little bit, it still gets the job done.
Well, that's what I said.
You
But
you know what you need? You just
this
need
picky
something.
old woman. What?
I think like the reason why it was easy because you just have to have something to like base it off of. You need another straight line to be like looking at the whole time. Or to
Yeah.
be measuring against it, or like just get some string. Did you have the
Yeah.
string thing? You just pull the string straight
Yeah.
along, or
Maybe it wasn't taut enough. I don't
yeah,
know.
not taut. You gotta make that string taut. Here's your problem. The string's not taut.
Oh, the string was zigzagged, you moron.
No one uses no one uses the word taut in any other way except for string.
Man, not enough.
Not enough taut talk.
Ah,
All
it's
right.
been taut talk on the
This has been
cavalry.
taut talk.
Well, should we get into this some topics? Some topics.
Topics. Yeah, let's do some topics.
All right. All right, I'll go for I'm very passionate about mine.
Oh,
And
please.
I got to be honest with you, I ran this by a buddy earlier today,
Yeah.
and I got some pushback.
Oh,
I'm still bringing it to the table.
well, that's why. That's exactly what you should be doing is bringing these
Yeah, I
topics to
thought
the
this was a
cavalry.
slam dunk. Of course, we all agree, but he was like, no, 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 no. And then this will be interesting because he's a music guy, and you are not.
No.
Topic is if you want to cover a song, if you're a band, you want to cover a song, great. Cover it at your concerts, whatever, that's fine. But you can't have it's not, I think it's horse shit for a band to cover a song and have that be like their new single. Like now the two
Yeah.
examples are first of all, Life is a Highway. Rascal Flats covered that. That was Tom Cochran. He's a one-hit wonder. That was his only hit.
Right.
And now half the people that know of that song probably think it is a Rascal Flats song. And now the new one is some country dipshit covered, Tracy Chapman's Fast
Right.
Car. And that's on all the time. And it's just the exact same song, but it's some fucking hillbilly dipshit singing it in his country voice, and it's a hit again. She got two hits that people know.
Yeah.
Uh,
So that's so
Come
funny.
on.
I heard her interviewed or something. I came across that because they were like, it's the first time she's ever charted on the country. I forget what
Yeah.
the stat was. Some
It's
mile, and I'm
always
like,
it's always country artists too.
but
God damn it.
but it just shows you how stupid the delineation between like country versus other styles of music is because it's like it's all identity. It's like she had the exact same song, but it wasn't a
Yeah.
country song because she's a black lady. But then,
Right.
but then this white guy does it. And now, oh, that's real country. And it
That's
reminds
a
me
good
when
song.
it's like that little Nas X. Remember he had a
What
that
song did he cover?
go under the horse. No, he didn't cover a song. He wrote a song.
Yeah, that song. Why did someone
Da,
cover
da,
that?
da, da. Well, no, but it wasn't. They wouldn't put it on the country charts. And then
Oh,
some famous country artist like was like, "Oh, I'll sing on it," and then he was on
oh,
it.
Billy Ray Cyrus.
Yeah, and so
Miley
then he
Cyrus
was
is in
on
it.
it, and like, "Oh, that's a
Oh,
country song. You got a white guy now. That's
yeah,
country."
yeah, yeah.
You know what I
Instead of
mean?
yeah.
That's
Instead of
so
a gay
stupid,
black man, it's another white.
right?
Yeah,
So it's just very like weird to me how they go, what's country and what's not. But yeah, I totally agree.
we'll see. And here's the thing. And I'm not like to show that I'm not like Counting Crows. To be fair, they did that. They did Joni Mitchell's uh, Big Yellow Taxi, and it was like it's one of their hits. It's on the radio. It's on. They put it on one of their album. I think it was a hidden track, but still, like that shouldn't just play at the concert if you want.
Right.
And but so my buddy's argument was, well, that's their artistic take on it. I think he's like, I'm sure Tom Cochran's enjoying those checks. Now that was the oversight that I hadn't thought about. Like,
Yeah. I
yes,
was
this
gonna
is a
say,
monster payday for these people.
well, that's why they never say no, right? Because don't they have to ask if the artist is living? Don't they have to ask for permission?
I would think so.
Because I remember I saw this other thing with Dolly Parton, and they were interviewing her. They said Elvis wanted to sing, wanted to cover what's the Whitney Houston one, the one that
I will
she
always love
eventually did.
you.
I will always love you. And then, but then the manager, the famous guy, the Colonel,
The Colonel.
Elvis's manager,
Oh, Tom
Tom
Hanks.
Hanks. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. The weird guy. He, I guess, made her some strong arm offer and she didn't like it. And so that's why Elvis didn't cover this. That's why she just kept the
Oh,
song for
okay.
so long. But, I mean, if the artist can say yes or no,
Yeah.
and then everyone still knows who wrote the original song. But I do think when you're Dolly Parton or you're like a legend, I would be handing out my songs to be covered left and right?
Oh,
Because
yeah.
it's like
Because
no
you're
one's
not
gonna
losing
forget.
anything.
Yeah. But you're
Yeah.
right. When you're a one-hit wonder, you're like, and they bury you, and then that their version becomes the version. It's got to be pretty insulting.
Yeah. Oh, what, 30 years, 25 years later, it's like, everyone's forgotten about it. I'll just put it out as a cover, but you know,
Yeah. I
I
think
don't know.
covers are so. I mean, it's just amazing. Like it's just standard operating procedure in music. But like, why wouldn't you just, if you're a band, right, and you hadn't made it yet,
Yeah.
just like cover everything. Just do covers. Do like
Yeah,
all
I
the
guess, but
popular
like then
songs.
aren't you just like a band for high, like that's like what bands like, oh, come play our wedding or
Yeah.
play at the bar. No one's gonna listen to you. We're all gonna sing along as you cover Journey. Like that's
Yeah.
not, then how are you gonna become a band?
But
But
that's
like
why I
if you
guess,
are a band, I say I love, like if I go to a concert, I love hearing covers. I love, like I love it. But I just you
you
don't
don't
need
have
to
to release them as like
don't
your
release it as a
song.
studio recorded.
I see. Well, I'm
That's my
backing you up. So if
that's
someone
all I
came to
need. I just
you,
need you to.
let's say you know, there was covers in comedy and someone came to you and wanted to cover a classic Johnny Beaner bit and they were a
Yes.
big famous comic like Jim
Yep.
Gaffigan or something, would you let him do it knowing that you would get like a royalty on every time he gets played on Netflix or whatever?
Yes, I of course I
You said
would, but
yes
I'm
before
and
I even
I'm glad
finished.
I'm glad you brought that up because I would say yes because I need the money and yes, it would be exposure. But if I was an outside comedy fan, I would be like, that's not right. That shouldn't be happening. That's not right.
Right.
And I
Because,
agree with them, but I'm getting the money. So I am making this
right.
compromise, telling myself these excuses of, oh, it's money, it's exposure. This will help me in the long run. But really, in the end, majority of the people are going to think that's a Jim Gaffigan bit, you know?
It's so music is so weird with that. Like I I guess people must think this about stand up, and then you actually play guitar and stuff, so maybe you can understand. But like I cannot wrap my mind around someone just sitting down and like making up a song, and then
I
they
can't
just
either.
like playing, and then like how do you not just immediately start
Playing a
singing or
song.
playing some song you've heard of before?
I know. You ever do that where you're like, you ever think about that and then you just try to sing an original like
It seems
tune? It's like, oh,
impossible.
wait a minute, that was Happy Birthday, you know?
Yeah, because it happens in these books. When I read Ginger a book, sometimes it'll call this next part is the song. Like the
Yeah.
character is singing these words in this little duck stories, and then the duck always sings some song. And so you're like, oh shit, but they don't have like the notes, they don't teach you the song. So you just have to make up the song when you sing it. And then it sounds so it's either happy birthday or twinkle twinkle little star, or it's like something where you're like, what the you know?
Yeah.
And it blows my mind that someone can really like just sit there and make up music. It just seems crazy to me.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. That's why I'm
Yeah.
very impressed with it.
Yeah. Maybe that, you know what? This was a breakthrough for me. Maybe I'm going to become a music guy. Now that I understand, I just sat here and kind of occurred to me how difficult it would be to write a song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You all of a sudden respect music more.
Now I know why people do covers.
I think I'm going to try to see Pearl Jam in September
Where are they
in
going to play?
Chicago. They're in
Chicago.
Chicago. September on my anniversary. I'm not bringing the
I
wife.
tell you, I try that. Do the soft launch. You ever do the soft launch?
What's that?
That's where you like you're kind of it's like with the fence. You got to drop. You can't just come out and be like, "Hey, I think it'd be great if you guys all built your own fence. I'm going to tear mine down." You got to just kind of like soft launch it. Yeah, we're thinking about taking this fence. Oh my god, it's so crappy. So we're thinking about taking it down, and you guys probably want a fence though, right? You'd still. Yeah, I know. I think they're affordable these days. I know a guy who, you know what I mean? Soft
Yeah.
launch. So you do have to do that to Aaron. You got to go. Yeah, man, I always wanted to see Pearl Jam. Have you seen him before?
Yeah. I always wanted to see him a second time though.
I always want to see Pearl Jam a second time. They're in Chicago on our anniversary, but yeah, I don't know if it'd work or
Oh, I
not.
already cleared it with her. It's already been cleared.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah. I told her about it and she was like, you have to do it. She was on my side. She was like,
Oh,
oh, you got it. You got it. That stinks, but you got to do it. And we're
points
not
for
big on, I
Aaron.
mean, we'll celebrate it, the next weekend or whatever. It doesn't
That
have to
is
be. That's
true.
on a Tuesday. So who
And
cares?
anniversaries are like, you can pick any day to celebrate them. Or just even do it.
Yeah.
Uh, I
And it's
tried this.
13. Nobody cares about 13.
The Seahawks are playing on Thanksgiving,
Yeah.
and I think they're playing the 49ers. It'd be a great game, in Seattle.
In Seattle, yeah.
So I tried to soft launch that.
No go.
No go.
Well,
very
oh,
quickly, very quickly came back. Are you insane?
I mean, that would be the whole day. That would be
Well,
Thanksgiving. You'd
two
be gone.
things. No, we would have to do Thanksgiving in Seattle. See, I was like, again, there's layers to this. So I was like, maybe we'll go to Seattle for Thanksgiving at my parents' house, and then, they eat so early. It's usually like a 1 o'clock dinner, and
Yeah.
then everyone's kind of wrapped up by 2:30, and we'll just be watching the game anyway, probably at 4, and then I guess I could just go to the game.
I mean, it'd be silly not to.
Yeah, yeah. Nope.
Nope.
Not gonna happen. But Heidi's
Uh,
going to Beyonce in September in
oh,
Seattle at
oh
Lumen
wow,
Field. Yeah.
that'll be fun. Let's see.
Yeah. She's going with her friends. Yeah, it'll be fun. I'm sure she'll have a great time. We'll have to get a second mortgage on the house, but
Sure. Well,
it'll
it's
be
not
a
like it's a
good
Taylor
time.
Swift concert. Do you know anyone that went to any of those?
That's so funny. Do you think that's Taylor Swift is actually a tougher ticket to get, or do you think it's just our, you know what I mean? It's like a cultural
The hype?
divide, it seems like. Everyone's either going to
Uh,
Beyonce or they're going to Taylor Swift.
yeah, I don't know. I guess I mean I think there's been more hype behind
The Taylor
the
Swift.
Taylor.
Isn't that crazy? I don't know.
Is it crazy that Taylor is tougher than Beyonce to get tickets to?
I would have thought. Now, see, I'm not
It's
a
just a
music
timing
guy,
thing. Just a timing thing.
but they're both on tour at the same time.
No, I know, but I'm saying I think I don't know, 8 years
Oh, their
ago, it would have
careers.
been flip flopped.
Oh,
And I
don't tell
think,
Heidi this. She's like the
well,
biggest Beyonce
nothing. I'm
person.
not saying Beyonce. I mean, Beyonce's
She'll
probably
kill
what the
you.
number two ticket.
No, she'll kill you for saying that.
Oh, all right. Well,
Oh,
don't
you're in
tell
big
her.
trouble.
Whew, thank God she's not a listener.
Yeah, he dodged another bullet. We dodge a lot of bullets by people not listening to this
All right.
podcast.
I know. I feel very comfortable saying stuff
Yeah,
on.
it's a safe space. All right, let me go quick because
Okay.
we got to wrap it up. Okay, so I get it. We both have kids, and sometimes in comedy, especially, but you'll run into these people who don't have kids, which is fine. And some people like make that choice to not have children, and I respect
Yep.
that because I was one of those people up until like a couple years ago.
Yep.
However, you don't get to be childless and like snarky about it. This is my take. Nobody, because you're not you're not contributing to the human race. So if you're choosing to sit it out, you're like, everyone else is building this house and I'm going to sit in my lawn chair and watch because that's easier. And that is your life. It is fine to make
Yes.
that choice, but you're not contributing in any way to the proper, you know, to the human
Yes.
race.
But you got to explain what you mean by being snarky.
Well, like, so they'll ever like I guess it's comics, but then just like stupid people, they'll be like, oh, the breeders, oh, these
Yeah.
people, these breeders, or oh,
Yeah.
they'll complain about the Trader Joe's parking lot, like, stop having kids, we don't need your stupid shitty kid running around
Sure.
ruining Disneyland or whatever,
Yeah.
there's too many people, or they're in traffic one day. Meanwhile, I love that when people are in traffic, they're complaining about traffic, be like, dude, you are traffic. You're the idiot causing the traffic. You
Yeah.
are one of the, but like, and then they'll like, I don't know, it happened the other day. My daughter was running around after this show. I took her to this outdoor show, and it was like a
Yeah.
6 o'clock show. So we took it in the park. And so brought my daughter, and she was running, and I like made a joke about like, oh, you better go take care of her, to this other guy, because she was running
Yeah.
away. And he's like, I'm not watching your kid. And he's one of these, like, Jesus.
I'm not
Like,
watching
I
your
wasn't
kid
actually
breeder.
expecting you. Yeah, you breeder. I didn't have kids. I shouldn't have to do that. So here's my point. Is like, if you're gonna be, or like if you're on a plane or in a restaurant and somebody's kid is loud, or don't don't be mean, don't say shit. If you're childless, just recognize the beauty of the easiness of your own existence. Like, yeah, this is
Yes.
annoying right now, but I never have to deal with this. And they're creating future, and this is my point, because you're like, well, they didn't have kids, why should they have to deal with it? Because they still benefit from youth. They get
Yes.
when they go to Taco Bell, there's some 18-year-old getting paid $12 an hour working that would not be there if nobody had kids, right? You get to watch college football. There would be no college football if no one had kids. So you're benefiting from youth and the human race being pushed forward,
Yeah.
but you talk shit to these people who are actually doing the work. It's crazy to me.
Next time someone says something to you about kids or complaining, I want you to be like, hey, while you're at home, next time you're at home watching kids say the darndest things, you can thank people like me.
People like me. Right. No, but it's true. It's like these guys they're like now a lot of these comics or guys are like in their 40s or 50s, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting everybody's younger than you that's doing anything of consequence anymore. You know, like some invention you're benefiting from was probably like a younger person that did it. And
oh yeah. No,
so
I agree.
I know you will agree because
but that's the thing. Like this is a we'll never get them to understand or side with us and be like, yeah, you're right, you have a good point, because it's just incomprehensible when you don't have, you know what I mean?
yeah. Well,
if you don't have kids. So it's just kind of like, well, they're not even their thoughts on the topic aren't even part of the equation, because it's just
well, and like I'm not even counting people who are just like, you know, maybe you can't have kids or you just are like, I'm not in a position in my life to ever have kids, so I'm not going to do it. But just show some respect. You know? And then also it's like people act like, oh yeah, I don't have kids. Guess what? If you don't have kids, you're not contributing to the planet. And don't tell me this like, oh yeah, well, it gave me more time to study. No. You go into like Europe 2 more times than it isn't helping the world, you know?
Yeah,
So
you're on the plane, you're like, oh God, you're gonna complain that there's kids on the plane or at the restaurant. Guess what? After this meal, then you get to go home and
yeah, you get to
fucking
go
jerk
home.
off in your living room. I there's no escape. We have no escape. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm gonna masturbate in my fucking family room. Are you kidding me?
What are you, nuts? What am I, some sort of gross monster? Did I think about that all the time? What are you, crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just think like it's the classic thing of like, if you're not gonna help, then at least
shut your fucking mouth.
Shut up. Show some respect. Be like, hey, thank you. How about that? Like, hey, you know what? I'm not gonna do that because that looks hard. And that's the real reason they're not having kids. It's not like I said, it's not like because they're gonna change the world or whatever. It's just because it's easier. It's easier.
Yeah.
It's easier not to have kids, and then you go, oh well, I'm gonna do the. Why wouldn't I do the thing that's easier? That seems.
Yeah, it's easier, and I get more money for myself. Yeah.
So great. You made a choice to do that, and that's great. And you can love that for yourself, but just shut up and be nice to people with kids, because they're actually creating the future Taco Bell drive-through workers that you
Thank
need.
you. See, and that's, I like that as an example.
I knew you would. Really, I tried to pick one that
really hit under. Yeah,
get on board.
Really hits home with me.
That's it.
Oh, that's a good topic. I like it.
Thank you.
Oh, 2 good topics, 2 good backups. We did it, man.
We did it. Thank you everybody for listening. Patreon with Ryan Weiser.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Be like Ryan.
Be like Ryan. Join the Patreon. You'll get post-show banner. We'll read your messages on the air or leave a comment, and we do that too. Also, I'll be in Seattle, Washington. Ever heard of it? In a couple weeks. August.
Where Pearl Jam's from.
Yeah, where Pearl Jam's from. Oh, this weekend, August 25th and 26th. Then, if you're in Bend, Oregon, September 26th, 22nd, 23rd, I'll be in Bend, Oregon. So you can get those tickets on the website.
I will be at the Sprecher Brewery in Glendale, Wisconsin on September 16th. Let's get some tickets for that. You got the link on my website or on my socials. Let's get some tickets sold for that.
Let's get some tickets for that.
Yeah, why not?
Let's build a fence.
Yeah.
Let's get some tickets.
I'm doing the Patreon. Why am I doing the Patreon?
Yeah,
it's available.
You might want to try it. All right. That's it. Thank you,
All right.
everybody, for listening to
The Cavalry.
Cavalry.